Hi everyone, my name is Brooke Benton. I'm a solutions engineer for Cadmium, and I'm going to be talking to you today about our learning management system, Elevate, which is specifically designed for associations and nonprofits. And just going to switch to the next slide to talk about our agenda, which today we're going to first take a look at the learner experience, kind of get a feel for what the learner goes through, what they see inside of the site. And then we're going to talk about some of the major reasons, I think, why people want to set up a learning management system for their organization. One, how to monetize your education and earn that non-dues revenue that everyone's after. Two, you want to turn your conference content into year-round learning so that you're not only grabbing, the learners that go to the event, but you can also further monetize those sessions. And then finally, tracking engagement, certifications, credits, even revenue. We've got reporting in the system that will help you with all of that. As we know, analytics are super important at the end of the experience, just so that you know where you stand and how to plan for the next event, the next engagement. Finally, we're going to close with some upcoming development within Elevate and then open it up for questions. So I'm just going to go into an Elevate site. And like I said, we're going to start by looking at the learner perspective. So when an Elevate learner logs in, which we do have two login methods that can be employed. One is going to be a local login, like a create account. Another is going to be a single sign-on, which we've integrated with most AMSs, lots of different organizations. So we can create a single login for your learners, no matter which approach you want to take. Once users get logged in, they're going to see the main screen, the elements that you've made available. You can see that we have lots of widget options, the ability to brand your site, as well as create intuitive searching mechanisms for your learners so that they know exactly where to go to find what they need. Each learner can go straight into their dashboard. This is going to be a central hub that's going to show any courses that they've already enrolled in, that they're in progress in, so that they have bookmarks to get right to where they need to go. It also is going to sort those items automatically. They can also access their transcript, which will summarize all of the achievements that they've gained inside of the site or outside of the site, because we do have the ability to allow learners to add in externally earned credits and achievements. So if they've gained any type of continuing professional credits, they can add that themselves. They can add that as a part of a certification or just as a singular credit. And that would all go on the PDF summary of their transcript, which is downloadable right from the dashboard. And that's going to look something like this, where site administrators can even customize this document, adding specific organization or learner information to the header, to the footer. And then as you can see, it's going to summarize credits as well as include anything that was externally achieved. So that creates a really nice unified place or hub for your learners to access all of their credits. They don't have to go to a separate site for their webinar certificates and then another site for their conference certificates. It's all in one place. So let's go ahead and go into a specific course and take a look at what that looks like from the learner perspective. We can see here, and we'll talk about this in more detail in a few minutes, but we do have the ability to set up tiered pricing within each individual course. So if you've got members that you want to have a complimentary experience, but then non-members you want to charge, easy to do in the system. I'm logged in to my site as a member, so I have access to this course for free. It's a single click login, and it takes me right to the pertinent information that I need. As a site administrator, you can include details like descriptions, speaker profile information, downloadable materials. We've even got engagement options like a discussion or a chat board, live poll options that participants can take part in before the course. You can show all of the registered registrants if you're creating more of a community environment within your system. And then finally, the requirements, or as we call them, the components within the course. So these components range from types. We have options like a recorded video that a learner might have to watch a specific amount of before they can move on. We also have engagement that can be included directly inside of the course. So that would be things like a discussion board so people can provide responses maybe to prompts or just to engage, to collect engagement through the course requirements. We've also got options for SCORM files that you can insert directly into the course. We do have an integration with SCORM Cloud. And when we talk about analytics, we'll see the reporting that comes with that, which is super detailed and amazing. We also, if you've noticed, can create automations throughout the course. So as the learner moves through each component, the next item will automatically open based on prerequisites. We can support two different types of assessments. One is going to be a quiz type assessment where you can have graded options, and there are all types of settings that you can set, like time limits, as well as different question types that you can put into play. You can also create templated assessments and clone them. So if you have generally the same experience for your learners or the same knowledge check that you want to have for a set of courses, very easy to pop those in. In addition, we've got options for live events. So you can see that this course has a webinar. You can see that the event is in progress. If I were signed up for this before it started, I would get reminder emails sent from the system automatically. I can also click to enter right from the course, or I can get like an email or an Outlook reminder appointment set, and I would have a link to be able to click from there. We support lots of different media platforms for webinars. We do have an integration with Zoom in particular that allows you to create your Zoom webinars right in the system. It automatically tracks your learners. It sends over reporting for any engagement that happened in the Zoom, as well as an MP4 of the recording will also be sent right into the platform, just streamlining that webinar experience so that you can spin those up without any effort. Additionally, you can create different stops throughout the course. You can kind of see this one is modular. We've also got options to create packages of courses or bundles of courses, and we'll talk more about that when we talk about monetization. We can also support evaluation-based report or assessments, so easy to get feedback from your learners. And then we, of course, have summary reports on the back end so that you can easily tabulate all of the feedback that you're getting. And then finally, from the learner standpoint, the main event, the certificate, the credits earned, this is what they're after. We do have within the dashboard the ability to grab these individual certificates and download them at any point. We've also got options for things like digital badges that could be distributed. So lots and lots of ways to engage the learner and let them gain what they're after, which are those professional credits. So now that we've kind of seen a summary view of kind of what the learner goes through, I do want to bounce into the back end of things and start talking about some of the tools that you have as a site administrator. So again, we're going to talk first on how to monetize your education, get that non-dues revenue. We have lots of ways that we can accomplish this in the system. I'm going to go into that same course that we were just looking at from the learner perspective, and you can kind of see a view of the admin setup page where it's very rich text and WYSIWYG heavy, very user intuitive. But in terms of monetization, pricing, we have a lot of different options that will allow you to create a reliable source of revenue, a reliable revenue stream 365 days a year. So a couple things on this page. One is that we, like I mentioned, have the ability to tier the pricing based on user or learner type. And this is completely self-definable as a client. So member versus non-member might be an obvious set of tiers, but you can really have as many of these as you need with any kind of labels. So it works for your group and your learners. And then you can set individual prices on a per course or a per package of courses basis. You you can kind of see here, you can dictate whether or not each user type can view the course, can register for the course. And then of course, if it's a complimentary price, we can set up that single click registration. Otherwise, they would go out to the cart, which we have payment processing embedded within the site. We have integrations with most of the major merchant processors like Authorize or Payflow with PayPal. And so as long as you have an account with one of the companies we have an integration with, we would connect that integration, and then the money flows directly into your system, whereas we have transactional reporting on the back end. So very easy to collect payments in the system. We can also, of course, do pay later options. We have lots of different discount options that you can set up both on a singular basis. So you can give out one discount code or promo code to an individual, but we also have volume-based discounts where you can set up, for instance, if I am a certain user type and I purchase 10 courses, then maybe I get the next course 50% off, or the remainder of my courses a certain dollar amount off. Lastly, in terms of group purchases, we have the ability within courses for users to actually sign and purchase, or to register and purchase courses on behalf of other users. So you can see that we have some rules that could be set in terms of what the learner could do in terms of purchasing for other people. But this would allow maybe a training manager to purchase a set of courses and assign them to their subordinates so that when they go into their learning management site, everything's set up within their dashboard and they can immediately start getting the education under their belt. Lastly, we have things like early bird pricing that you can set rate plans up with. Private registration, meaning maybe I don't want people to be able to self-register. I want only to be able to import a registration list into the system, let's say, and sign people up. And then finally, and we'll go through this in more detail in a few minutes, but we do have something called group portals. And so that would be if you have any type of affiliate companies or cohort groups, maybe chapters under your umbrella organization that want to have maybe their own instance in the site. Maybe they need separate branding, they want a particular look and feel, but they're going to actually be selling or presenting courses from your catalog under their name. So you can set up a group portal for those companies, those organizations, and you can even individually adjust the pricing based on the user type. We also have the ability for, when talking about group portals, to create, like I said, individual instances that are specifically branded for that group. All the way throughout the program, the subdomain can be a unique one for the group. So it doesn't have to be necessarily an offshoot of the main site. It can exist on its own, and learners can either log in and self-register for the courses that are available under this umbrella, or the site administrators or even people designated for the group called group managers could sign people up for these courses. So lots of ways to kind of break off the learning into various pieces and create transform educational programs into your sustainable revenue streams. So the next thing I want to talk about in terms of education and further monetizing, content under your umbrella. I'm going to go ahead and log back in as a member so we can see, but that's going to be to convert your conference education into evergreen learning. So of course we can support self-paced learning, on-demand courses, live webinars. We can support lots of different other options like podcasts, resource libraries, but we also, one of our bread and butter options is going to be within converting that educational conference content that maybe only lasts in the past for that weekend or that week that it goes on. Your learners go to the conference, they engage with the sessions, they claim their credits, and then that's it. That's the only people that you grab for that revenue. But now you can add your conference sessions as a product or even a package of products. So if you have things like a session with multiple presentations under its umbrella, you can easily package that together and then sell each session either as a bundled package of courses or each individual session or course as its own purchase. That allows you to continue to collect money for these sessions from maybe people who didn't go to the event, people who have just become a member of the association, and it just lives on in your archives. And as a matter of fact, if you are also an Ed Harvester user, we do have an import tool. So if you've collected all of your conference information, your session details, your speaker information within the presentation and speaker management database within Cadmium on the event side, we have a tool connecting Elevate and that database. And so what you can do is through your Elevate instance, after the event is over, you can go in and select the event that you're wanting to pull from. And you can see my sample client has lots of events, but you can pinpoint the event that you're looking for. That's going to automatically pull all of those sessions that you created in that database. And then you can pinpoint which ones you're wanting to convert into products. So I could come through and say, I want to add this session 4 pieces, and that will spin these up as individual products or as a package of products. I can go ahead and set pricing in bulk for these items. And what it will do is create the shells of these products. So all I have to do on the follow-up is go through and add any additional elements like images or a survey that people need to take, or assign a certificate template to that session if I'm allowing for continuing education credits. That way, learners can come through and access the courses, pay for the courses right from the system, gain credits even that would be added automatically to their transcript, their learner dashboard. And then in addition to that, and we'll kind of cover this again when we talk about upcoming development, but further down the line this year, we are adding a product called the Universal Credit Engine, which is going to link any credits earned in our events evaluation platform to Elevate. So those credits that they earned in the event software are going to automatically be added to their transcript and combined with any LMS credits earned. Again, just creating that one unified hub for education rather than having disparate systems that people have to keep logging in and out of and remembering credentials and URLs and whatnot. So very important to remember that, the LMS and the event catalogs, they don't necessarily need to be totally separate. They can actually merge, come together, and create year-round learning. So the last thing I want to talk about in terms of reasons, most people go for LMSs is the analytics that you get with the site itself. So one is going to be, I need to know where my learners stand within the products. I need to target people who haven't completed certain courses. I need to pull reports based on their progress. So this product progress report does just that. It allows you to choose either one course or multiple courses. You can set your date range. So you're pulling a specified group of users, making sure that it's current. And it's going to show you every single registrant for that course and a snapshot of where they stand in each of the components. So you can kind of see as we scroll that you can tell like what they answered within the quizzes, if they completed the discussion, et cetera, et cetera. We also can sort by incomplete. And now I'm pulling just a report of my users who still need to complete the course. Maybe the expiration date's approaching, or I just want to send out reminders. So I can download this report as an email download and then target these learners in my reminder communication. I can also go through to registration reports, and I can pull registration and revenue detail. And so this is going to give me a snapshot of, either again on an individual course basis or on multiple courses. And you can see we've got a lot of different parameters that we can fill in, but this is going to give you a snapshot of your basic registration revenue details, how much people have paid, how many discounts have been utilized within that course, how much money you've earned. So great ways to keep up with revenue and registration counts. We also have within our product reports, I know we talked about SCORM file capabilities, and we do have that integration with Swarm Cloud. And so if you have a SCORM file, you not only get the normal analytics that we can provide in terms of engagement, but you also get analytics that come straight over from that third-party SCORM cloud interface. So these are going to be detailed analytics for the course activity, the sections that they passed, and additional information that you can gather that makes this just that much more valuable. You can kind of see as I click through the various options. Additionally, we have user-based reports. And so user total credits earned is another really popular report that people will run. And that's just going to give you exactly what it sounds like, a summary of all users. Again, you can define based on date ranges. And then that's going to give you a summary of their total credits so that it's easy download, easy for sorting. And all of these reports can be automated in terms of an automated email to any outside stakeholder. So easy to get this information to anybody who needs them. Additionally, we've got things like discount reports. We have, in terms of the analytics, quiz and survey reports, which are going to give you details on all of the questions answered and trends within those. So you can see that we can do summary report downloads. We can also zero in on the responses per user instead of a summary. And then finally, we have what we call the site stats reports page. So initially, this is a dashboard that's going to give global site analytics at a snapshot, things like active users, active products, total unique site visitors. Then as we scroll, we have an editable dashboard area where you can pick and choose the positioning of these graphs that are pulling things like top 10s in terms of registration by date range, top 10 users, user engagement, et cetera. And then of course, all of these have corresponding export options. So you can pull these analytics into CSV. All of the reports for that matter are exportable to CSV. So again, very easy to get the data out. And if you're looking for an automated way, we do have something called the Reports API that allows you to pick and choose the various fields that are included in our API and pull that data into a third party. So we've really discussed how to support your learners, support compliance, accreditation, pull your detail, pull your analytics, make sure that people are completing the courses in the time that you expect, and kind of just know what's going on with your site. We also talked about how to continuously convert conference education into evergreen learning within the site. And then we talked about how to transform all of this educational content into a sustainable revenue source. Again, grabbing all of that non-dues revenue that we can. So we talked about things that the system can do currently. Now I want to kind of turn the table and talk about some things that we've got upcoming. This is a prototype view, but we do have a new AI tool called the AI Text Assistant. That's going to allow site administrators who are creating descriptions of courses to utilize Cadmium's AI in order to do things like change the tone of the description, change the length, improve the grammar, just quick fixes that make conversion of these courses and rolling them out just that much faster. This tool is going to exist in the rich text editor for starters in the description of courses as well as in the email bodies, which we do have editable email templates and blank draft emails available for every single product to all of your learners. So again, easy to kind of create instant communication that sounds uniform, that matches the tone that you're going for. And that product is rolling out very, very soon. Another, this has actually already been rolled out, I think as of a week ago, but we have implemented our Cadmium Unified login to Elevate, meaning that that's the first product on Cadmium's line that we are implementing our CIDMS, which basically at the end of the process is going to result in one login for a learner for all Cadmium products. That just cuts down on the passwords needing to be known, the different interfaces needing to be navigated to, just streamlining the experience for your learners. Another, I kind of mentioned this earlier, another product coming out of the gate or later this year is going to be that universal credit engine. So again, if you are using the full suite of Cadmium products, you can take your conference planning and all of the results from your actual conference in terms of the credits that were distributed. That can go automatically into the universal credit engine, where any learners that then move over to the LMS after the event will have access to all of those certificates, credits, badges, etc. And then additionally, we're going to be continuously adding AI improvements to all of the products, but within Elevate, we're going to be improving the way that the website handles things like the recommended for you, the clinical self-assessment, by incorporating AI into those components.